Good to the good energy people. How y'all doing? What's going on? We will be going live in the next 2 minutes. Could you please do me the favor, share the page, like the page. If you know someone that don't have Facebook and they want to be in this discussion, tell them to go to YouTube and go to David Adams Podcast. David Adams Podcast. And they can view and watch the discussion there. And you'll be willing to, you'll be able to call in. The number will be on the screen during the discussion. And you can always call in if you want to chime in on some of the topics. We have a few topics today, not many. We're not going to be here long. Yep, 1 minute, 1 minute. Thank you for chiming in for those who have already. If you have any questions, if you have any profound statements, you will be able to do that today. All right. Let me hear your voice, Angela. Let me hear you.
Hey, Dave, what's up?
Okay, good. How about you, James?
How are you, sir?
All right, all right. I think Angela's voice sounds a little too low. Let's see. Say something again.
How you doing, James?
All right, good.
I'm well.
All right. How y'all feel, though? How y'all good?
I'm really good.
You look good. You look good. You look good.
Thank you.
You
You
look
too.
good.
You too.
Yeah, much love, respect. All right, much love. Thank you for tuning in once again to the D.A.P show. We are here, and we're going to start this discussion in a little bit. Okay, here we go. Now, first, I would like to do this because I always forget to do this. I always forget to share with you guys that's here my shea butter. It's called the Supreme Sunshine Shea Butter, and it's the bomb. Real
All right,
talk.
all
Yeah.
right, all right.
But it's real smooth. I got a fresh one. It's whipped up nice. You guys can try it out. You know, it's a nice little whip. My hands are ashy, and I always try to put it on before the show. I don't know why. It's like a routine habit, but it's a real smooth.
Smells
This one
really
is
good.
Yeah, this one is powder fresh. This is
Yes.
powder fresh.
I used to
yeah.
get the pineapple. Do you still
Pineapple
make the
coconut?
pineapple?
Yeah, pineapple
I love
coconut.
the pineapple. My kids don't
Yeah.
like it. They're like, that's so strong.
That's too
But I
strong.
like it.
Yeah. This one right here is called Royal. You can just smell this one. This one is called Royal. This is mainly for men. Smell the same as that a little bit, right?
Smells nice.
Smells nice. All right, all right. So, Angela Evans is a author, and she also is a mentor. She does her spiritual thing. You know what I mean?
Yes.
She got her hand in a few things. You know what I mean? She got her hands in a few things. So tell them about your book and other things that you're doing, and you know, you got a few things going on. Tell them about yourself.
Okay, well, first and foremost, I would like to say I'm an inspirational speaker. I love to spread the word. I love to encourage and enlighten others. And for the most part, the books that I written were books of devotional. So
Right.
for the most part, I host different events, and sometimes, you know, I'm invited to be a speaker at different events. So for the most part, I'm an inspirational speaker.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's our girl, A.V. Angela Evans. And my man James is doing a few things around these areas. He's an author as well, and he has about 2 or 3 books out, right? About 2 books.
2 books, but one book was about my life, My Butterfly by James Rodman. Just tells about still believing in love and getting engaged on national TV and not marrying that woman and my life. So it wasn't an instructional book for relationships and what to do. It was more so the things that I shouldn't have done and I learned from. So that's what that book is about.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's my man James, and he's basically he gives you all types of points and views from black men's perspective. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that's a great thing. So before we get started, I just want you guys to know that we are possibly doing cruise soon, maybe June, July. We're doing a cruise, so look out for that. And don't forget, we still are making it happen as far as the Everyday Man Dinner. Myself, Patricia, and Evelyn, Angela is putting this together December the 17th. Tell them more about it.
We're talking about the community dinner.
Yeah, the community dinner. Yeah, she
All right,
everywhere.
so I was trying to hit people up, but for the most part, okay. So we decided that we wanted to host a community dinner for everyday men. We always have events where we're acknowledging people who have accomplished great things, which is a great thing. We give honor to where honor is due. However, for this particular event, we're focusing on our brothers, our cousins, just everyday men who are being role models to their family. They don't need a title to come out and sit at the table. And at that particular event, we have a few speakers. We decided that we coming out. I hear something. We have a few speakers coming out, and we have just an environment where they will be uplifted and encouraged at the dinner.
Exactly. That's right. That's right. So yeah, we're not trying to, we want to just make sure we give those men that do the everyday thing, not titles and no political people and things of that nature. Dudes men that that you see every day that you want to say, we see you. We definitely see you. You know what I mean? Real talk. So y'all make sure y'all check that out December the 17th.
Yes.
All right. So first, I want to bring up the question. The question is going to be: is there a war waged against black men? And if it is, how is that war being waged? Is there a war being waged on black men? And what are the tactics that this war is being waged? James.
Wow. I definitely think there's a war waged against black men, because black people, we are a minority on the earth, a majority on the earth, a minority in the United States. In the leadership role of every community, of every family, the man of that community, the man of that family is the one who leads them into the future. So if you take away the head, you take away the leader, you definitely have control or a manipulative advantage when you're trying to do what you need to do in whatever your goal is. So it can be government, it can be society, it could be a lot of things. Just like taking the man out of the house is strategic in the sense that once the man is gone, whatever goes on in the house can be manipulated. So there's definitely a cause and a trend, and I don't want to get too deep into the governmental stuff, but it's definitely a war against men, black men in particular.
Okay. Same question and statement, Angela.
I think that overall society, the fact that we have things that came out like Black Lives Matter, certain things were, not that I'm supporting any particular, but I'm just saying any particular movement. No, I'm not necessarily supporting it wholeheartedly, but there are reasons why there are people advocating on the behalf of black youth, the community as a whole. But the reality is, from day one, it's always been some injustices towards the black community. So I think that we all can just call a spade a spade. That's my word. I've been saying that so much.
But I'm trying to change it up to, I said, call a heart a heart.
Let's call a heart a heart. I'm going to try to get that in my lingo because I'm like, let's be real. But for the most part, I think that because it's so evident and it's so noticeable, even within the community, it's a way we have to start encouraging our young men to beyond that point, beyond that fact, beyond, despite it all, how do we encourage and uplift them and cause them not to use that as an excuse? Because I find like when I was growing up, a lot of black men use that as an excuse. Oh, this is happening, that is happening. So how do we, that's my next follow-up question is, okay, so that's our reality. Like, say, for instance, if I'm a single mom, your dad is not here, I got to tell you, look, your dad's not here. So now let's move forward. So how do we get past that conversation? How do we get past the reality of it while in it, but encouraging them, but not ignoring it? This is what it is.
Yeah, we definitely can't ignore it. If we're trying to give information to the younger ones that's coming up, they got to know that there is, going to be trials, tribulations, and obstacles set in their way. It's almost like going through life and not realizing that there is a war against you. There's time bombs everywhere you go. So you have to be aware where the time bombs are when you're walking out there in that field. So we can't ignore it. It's okay that we definitely want to push forward, but you have to know. That's what I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see where both of you coming from, definitely.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. So as far as what you're saying, as far as how we get past it, how we get them to, look forward to not looking at that. What do you mean?
I'm saying, like, for instance, if I go back to when I was growing up,
What?
when you hear my brothers or my cousins complaining about this or that, and the white man this or this and that, pointing out, just pointing out those facts. We get that part. Now,
Right.
What are you? Remember, you guys were talking
Right.
about being accountable,
Exactly.
right? So
Right.
what are you doing in this whole picture? Is it that somebody came and made you do whatever it is, and now you're feeling like you're being harassed because you're indulging in certain activities or certain behaviors? So it's almost like, let's just say, for instance, an individual who screwed up his driving record, and now every time he gets pulled over, he's getting another ticket. Whatever. They keep giving me tickets. They keep giving me tickets. Well,
You need to get your license.
get your license right. Get your license right.
Bottom line.
Get your life right.
Right.
Certain things I feel like we,
Accountability.
Accountability. That's your word, right?
Right.
That's my word.
All right. So that it comes a point to where, so yes, these are realities, but
Right.
what part am I playing in it? That's the
Exactly. I agree 100%. So to the young brothers that may be tuned in, that may be watching, you have to take accountability no matter what. You can't expect to be driving a car, getting stopped, and then you get mad at them for stopping you because you don't have your paperwork.
Exactly.
And then get to the point where you want to get mad, like, what you stopping me for? Hey, y'all. You can't do that. That's not good. That's not good at all. You know what I mean? I think there's other ways too where the war is definitely waged on black men, as far as finances is concerned. Like, there was a whole bunch of jobs that was taken away from the inner cities, going out to other parts of the world. I think that's another part of it. So therefore, if speak to that, James. Go ahead, speak to that. Finance.
I mean, finances are important for everything. So if you take away someone's monetary use of the finance to make their purpose happen, it's effective for destroying someone or building them up. It can go either way. So for us as black men, the opportunity may not be as prevalent for other races as it would be for us, but we still and have historically always made it through, made our way, and still perform for our families and our village. So right now, there isn't an excuse to the extent that it should stop you or hinder you from actually being progressive and being successful, but you have to be cognizant of what is happening so you can maneuver through it, just like you use the license as an example. Once you get your license suspended, it's pretty much a hard hill. Once you go to jail and that's on your record, it's pretty much a hard hill. So you need to know what hills are out there so that you don't start walking up these hills that are going to be hard and last for the rest of your life. Me, myself, my license was suspended for an entire year one time, and I was still driving. But once I got my license back, and I was like 19, 20, because I used to race cars on the highway and all that stuff right here, Jersey City, Newark. When I got my license back, I never, welched on a ticket, never did anything, and my license has been perfect. I don't have any points since then. So that's going on 25, 30 years.
That's what's up.
Yeah, but and you have to you have to teach the younger ones so they don't have to go through the experience in order to learn from it and grow. We can tell them what obstacles, now whether they take that advice or not is another story.
Whole nother story. You want to speak to that too, Angela?
I think that when you made that comment in regards to let's teach them how to be more responsible with their, let's just say, for instance, like back in the day, Rent-A-Center. You all remember Rent-A-Center?
Yeah.
And your mom might get something in your name, the brother's name, and everything. The only thing,
Yeah.
only thing you know is that you duck in the Rent-A-Center, man, or he's going to come take the VCR, that kind of thing. So how do we get the kids? That just came out of the blue. I remember
That was a
those
good one,
days.
though. Yeah,
but for the
right.
most part, how do we get our children not to get caught up in these quick get rich schemes, or get over, how to get by. Oh, they're giving out this. No, let's just be responsible so that we're not worrying about ducking and not being able to use our name because of being caught up in bad behaviors in the beginning. So I think that's something that we should really focus on in this generation.
Oh, yeah.
Because we all can't keep starting from scratch at the age of 25. Like you still didn't get it together yet.
No doubt. That's right. I agree. Definitely. I think they need to bring back what was that, trades? You know what I mean?
Trades
schools
in high school.
Yeah, I think they need
vocational schools, trades.
I think that we very, very important because I think young men coming up and trying to do their thing far as buying things for themselves when they 20, 21, 22. I think they need to make a way to make a living far as bringing an income in because they don't give you a job. You should create one. We should push that. You know what I mean? Create a job. Stop waiting on someone to give you a job.
Right.
Yeah.
And the village should be investing in creating jobs for the village.
Right.
50 years of hip hop is being celebrated, but hip hop hasn't given communities in cities, black communities in particular, what they could have with the amount of money they've made, spent, and exploited.
I agree. I agree. I just heard Umar Johnson say something to that effect. He was talking about how hip hop 50 something years now, and it's like no hospitals, no banks, no funeral homes. I'm talking about. I mean, situations where it can put our people in a position to where we can really grow.
True.
You know what I mean? And he said something to the fact too. It seemed like the professional, the singers, all the movie stars and the big billionaires, it seemed like they can never come together and do anything big together. How come, I ask that question too a lot. How come nobody ever, put together and say, oh, come on, Puff, let's get together, let's get a hospital together. I mean, a big school. That's, you know what I mean? It's kind of weird.
I think that for the most part, let's just say individuals, if you have a selfish way of living, selfish way of thinking, you're not really thinking of a bigger picture or what role I can play in making it better in my family, in my community, in my city. I believe that it really depends on that particular person. Let's just say you have people who give back all the time. I was just a part of an event yesterday where an individual, he comes back to the hood and he just blesses people with just free food, clothing, and that kind of thing. And what I'm trying to make the point is, it really is a selfish mentality to make it out the hood or be successful without really thinking of how can I improve this situation. Now, everything's not for everybody. Everybody just doesn't have that heart to look beyond themselves. But I think the selfish age has to end because our children are suffering, our communities are suffering, and at some point we as the more wiser ones, we can't allow these children to keep running the streets. Like seriously, I was watching I don't know if it was in PA where an elderly woman said she doesn't come out out her house after a certain hour because the kids are really like running them streets. I mean, like that's a little unfair. So I think that we have to start implementing programs, like you were saying, maybe programs, and go to some people who can make some things happen for these children.
No doubt. I agree. If you got any questions or you want to add to what we're talking about, you can always just chime in. The phone number is on the screen right now. We're waiting for your call. If you would like to do that, you can do that now. The next topic will be how can we get to the point where we making it normal for people, not just the younger generation, but our people in general? How can we make it normal and push the narrative of mental health? Just like a guy would go to the gym to work out, you know what I mean? They have no problem with doing that, you know, getting it in, you know what I mean? How can we push that narrative to them to make it, this is okay to go deal with mental health?
Wow. Well, being as though most of us, if not all of us, probably can benefit from getting therapy.
Right.
So because in our community, we don't talk about mental health, we don't talk about the structuring of healing a brain and healing a mental situation or a childhood situation that affected you in a traumatic way.
Right.
We don't discuss that. We don't make that a part of our everyday struggle. You know, we got that uncle and we got that aunt that's a little nuts and she'll grab a football and stab it. And, you know, you just never know what people are going through and why. And, you know, it comes from deep-rooted historical things that have happened in a traumatic way. So trauma has a lot to do with generation after generation after generation of people just making it.
Right.
And sometimes just making it, it looks good because you survived, but because you made it and you're still living at a certain age doesn't mean you don't need help and you didn't need therapy and some help along the way to help you with the stresses and the traumas of childhood, because everything goes back to your childhood.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
A lot of people are suffering from some type of mental illness and not really aware that that's exactly what they're suffering from. So we have, even in growing up in our families, you know, you didn't realize that Uncle such and such really had a touch of this, or, you know, or whoever it was.
Yeah.
A
touch of this, a touch of that.
But we just know he was a little special, right? So with that said, even... But I'm going to talk about women. Some women are stressed out to the point where they're yelling at the kid all the time, or when they come in from work, they're, you know, overwhelmed. Leave me alone. I'm sure my dog. Don't, you know, they're just giving, because they're just overwhelmed and stressed out. But sometimes, you know, we don't even know what our triggers are. We don't even realize that last phone call, you know, got us to another level, and now we're mad at everybody and we want to start slamming doors and get out my face with everybody. So I believe that, you know, a lot of people are suffering with illness, you know, mental illness, and don't even realize it is a form of mental illness that they're dealing with.
Wow.
Depression, stress, all that stuff, all those things are triggers. Like when you are not able to cope or, you know, digress or like blow it off your shoulders and you need like some time away or away from everybody, maybe, you know, you really should consider finding other ways of dealing with those type of anger issues.
Right. I agree. I agree. No doubt. So how do we introduce this to the younger generation to make it normal for them? You know what I mean? What are the ways we can, what are the tactics that we can possibly use to make it seem normal for those that's 25 and under?
I mean, it just made me, I was sitting here thinking, I was in deep thought. I think I sent you the video of the 25-year-old teacher who was crying, and she was depressed because her students were asking her for the songs, some song about I don't know,
inappropriate
Pound
songs.
Town.
Pound Town is an inappropriate song, and the kids are like 5 years old and they're twerking. So it upset the young lady because she knew the reason these kids are like that stems from adults that didn't teach them, didn't guide them. Whether it be, we can argue men or women, the mother, the father,
doesn't matter.
But it really boils down to adults were in charge of raising these kids, and these kids are already in kindergarten twerking. That shows you the systemic problem and the parental problem and our village problem.
Facts.
Because that is just uncalled for, and we can't allow our generations to keep getting worse and worse and worse. When we have the knowledge, we have more money than we ever had. We have more books and access to knowledge than we ever had. So why are we getting worse generation after generation? Then flip to another video where the older young lady says, Let these kids be who they are.
Yeah,
Do not mess with them. Do not chastise them for having their pants sagging. And I'm saying to myself, does this
She actually,
older woman really
came out and
understand?
said, "Leave them alone."
Right, but that's the nurturer,
like,
that's
whoa.
the emotional part of her, but she's not realizing she's probably part of the problem.
Oh yeah, because she did
Because
mention that she was.
those men that she was referring to, those kids, those girls, they're lacking discipline and structure. And godly men, godly people have discipline. People who raise kids have to insert discipline. The ones that don't receive the discipline end up in prison.
Facts.
So
Facts.
definitely.
You want to speak to that, Angela?
I think it goes way back to the point I was making where people just are simply unaware of how damaging our actions or our lack of discipline can cause a domino effect. So if you keep allowing children to have children and they're just implementing their perspective on this young child's life, and it's like your undeveloped brain. The truth of the matter is that I believe it's 25 years old when the brain is actually fully met its when it's fully grown. I heard a doctor say that before. So even though I may be 18 years old, my brain is still not fully developed.
Right,
Even though I'm 21 years old and I'm illegally able to drink, my brain is still not fully developed. So these children, and I was trying to share this with my daughter, who at the time was smoking marijuana when they legalized it. I was like, just because it's legalized does not mean that you have to indulge.
Right.
Well, there's nothing wrong because there's nothing wrong. It's not even against the law. No, what about my body? What am I doing to my body? What am I doing? You are stunting the growth of your brain. So that means if you keep smoking from the time you're 17, by the time you're 25, you're still going to have that 17-year-old brain. So with that said, a lot of the children, they're raising children based off their limited knowledge on that undeveloped brain, but with that know-it-all spirit, or I can do it my way spirit. Their perspective is tainted, and and that's pretty much where a lot of the issues come from. People who are just unaware, doing it and winging it, and it's not necessarily the right way.
So what do you say to those parents who's on that old school way of doing things? When you turn 18, you out. You got to go. So now you got this 16-year-old anticipating becoming 18 in 2 years. And that's on his brain. Like, I got to do this, you know what I mean? How do you feel about, the pressure of those old school ways? You getting out when you're 18.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. Shout out to Jamie Gainey, because she's the one that taught me about 25 years old being when your brain is fully developed, and just the fact that you're 18 doesn't mean you're totally an adult in the mental sense.
Right.
But legally you are. So we need to stress that even though you may not have fully developed your brain, you definitely better understand the law.
Right.
Because it too can, affect the rest of your life.
Right.
But I don't know. I mean, there's like sink or swim. My mom has been saying that lately. She lives in North Carolina. Sink or swim as an adult. So you either push the kids out, or they end up staying with you till they're 55, 60 years old in the basement, like in the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And the guy, he's a rich guy, but him and the Tom Cruise or whoever the guy's name is, they're like secret agents and all that, but he still lives with his mom. And then he has to holler at his mom, and it hit me like, wait a minute. In different races, they stay at home for different reasons.
Right.
In our village, a lot of people come home because they have to.
Yeah.
A lot of people come home because they can't afford to do this and do that. So that's something to look into. When you push someone out at 18, you force them to survive, but there can be a hindrance. There can be a problem in pushing someone out and it not working as quickly as it should in your mind.
Right.
Because all these opportunities don't necessarily drop in your lap just because you got pushed out, and it could be a traumatic experience being pushed out into the world we live in now, especially in 2023. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
So, I mean, I really don't know what to say to that because I would have to sit down and think that over. But I do preach to a lot of young men who don't understand. You have to work. You have to provide for yourself. You have to survive. Stop waiting on somebody else. Stop relying on somebody else, whether it be a parent, a girlfriend. We spoke on that the last episode. So the men in our village definitely need to know what it is to be a man, work as a man, save as a man, live as a man, and provide for your family as a man.
That's right.
So being pushed out, you know, that's a tough one. That's not an easy subject to discuss.
Speak to that, Angela.
So as we know, children mature differently. Some, may be feeling like they're mature enough to handle the world like that, but we should start having conversations with our children from the time they're 14, 15, just to see where their head is at. Are you planning college? How are we going to assist them in their journey? We can't just say, go for it. No, we need to help them make better, rational, and practical decisions with their lives. So I can remember my, and I don't like to keep putting my daughter out there, but at one point, I won't say the name, but y'all know which one I'm talking about. Y'all know which one I'm talking about. No, I'm joking. But seriously, she had this mentality like when she was with her little high school sweetheart at the time, and she in her head thought they were going to get married and live happily ever after, right after high school. And I said to her, you should really think about what you really want to do. I know we're getting married. She, in her head and her little 16-year-old brain, undeveloped brain, and her la phase, she was thinking that this is really where I'm going with it. So fast forward after the baby and after they broke up and after she's now a single mom and, they still have a good relationship. And I have to say, I really appreciate his family because they're really hands-on. His mom is an excellent grandmother. She assists so much, picking the baby up, bringing the baby, taking her. So she's really a hands-on grandmother. So my daughter doesn't have that, well, fend for yourself kind of thing. But when I was trying to have the conversation with her, in her little world, she made up in her mind that this is what we're going to do. She tried it.
She
tried it. She went out there and she even lived with him for a little while, and situations turned back when she was right back home. And it's like, okay, now
what?
What are we gonna do now? So again,
you didn't give her you didn't give her the I told you so.
I didn't. I was trying not to do that part because I remember when my mom was there for me. I was like first and out of high school when I had my first child, and my mother was literally everything. My child's father was locked up. So if my mother would have said, okay, boom, figure it out, I was like, wow, but with the baby, like, can we stay for a month at least, So I appreciate she did not do that for me, to me. So I'm here, you have a cushion, and I explained that to my daughter, and you have siblings where you don't have to be worrying about running her to this person or that person. We're here to help you, but what is your plan? So again, it has to be a conversation between the adult and the child, just so we can help them really be more rational in their planning because they think they know it all. That's the unfortunate part.
I agree. Yeah, speaking of the relationships for young people, speak to, trying to let them know that you're not ready. Okay, I know you're 18. I know you're feeling yourself. I know you fly. Yeah, my man, you fly. Yeah, you dope. You dope. All right, but you're not ready for this. How do we get that in their heads? Because it seemed like young relationships, they start off like we all did. Start off with no rules, no regulations, no guidance, no mentor, no examples. We just going on this feeling.
Well, do I need to say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Gentlemen?
Yeah.
Well, if I could go back to the point that I made in regards to biblically, the word tells us, he tells a man how to be a provider, and he tells instructions for a father, for a husband, but not a boyfriend. So you mentioned it the last time we were talking in regards to a relationship. Is like, what's the ultimate goal?
Right.
It's to
date with a purpose.
Dating with a purpose. We're going to hook up and we're going to get married. Right. And so while you're in the phase of dating, is this somebody really I can rock out with? does he bring those qualities, those morals, those values to the table? What are we doing otherwise? So as young women are still into the, oh, he's thugged out, or he's a roughneck, or it's sort of like, is that really what you really want to settle down? And vice versa, the men, the guys looking at the girl because she's able to do all kinds of twists and turns and whatever with her body. She's a really good dancer, but it's not all you need, the entertainment of it all, seriously. So I think that ultimately the role in relationships is all screwed up because you're a boy and you're telling me I'm your girlfriend and this is what you want me to do. Now I'm bowing down to what you're saying when it's all nothing to do with my purpose at all. So in a relationship with somebody who doesn't know his own identity, and now he's implementing things about this world that I shouldn't be indulging in anyway. And now my nose wide open for somebody who got me doing all kinds of things. And it doesn't have anything to do with my purpose. So you can spend years wasting in a relationship with an individual who's confused and lost, and you're following that person. And men too. Men will turn their life around, flip it upside down for a woman, and you be like, why are you still messing with her? Out of all the girls he brought home, his nose wide open for her. So the truth of the matter is that
nose be wide open, they can smell ice cubes. I say back in the day.
I ain't hear that one. I never heard that one. You must be old school.
I'm old school for real.
But yes, that's all of that. Yes.
Go ahead, James. Speak to that.
It just made me think that the daughters are following in the footsteps of the mothers. The mothers followed in the footsteps of grandma. The sons are following in the footsteps of the father or the uncle that they're watching. Because in my childhood, I had the good uncle and I had the bad uncle. The bad uncle was cool until I got old enough to realize he wasn't cool. He was a fool.
And you put the C on top of that.
Yeah. That foolery and all that craziness was funny when you're younger. But as an adult, when you start learning, like, I don't want to be like him. And that's why I turned out to be a 52-year-old man that never tasted alcohol, not even a beer.
I know that's right.
Watching that particular uncle who he made his mind up when it's in my book too. He told me when I was younger, I was very young, 10, 12, I don't know. And he told me, he said, if you really have a strong mentality like you think you do, you can hit this crack pipe one time and never hit it again. So I said, well, the problem with you is the first time you did it, that's where your downfall was. Yeah. So get that out of my face and I'll never be you.
I know that's right.
And I was a kid talking like that.
Come on.
So I really think that people don't understand generationally, like from generation to generation to generation, the kids watch the adults and they emulate them. If you watch a kid or a little boy, he's trying to walk like his father.
That's facts. I definitely agree with that.
Look at the little girl.
Definitely agree.
She's trying to cook and wear the same outfits as mom.
Right.
So when you let these particular things happen without guidance, then the kid gets to decide. Like these kids nowadays are telling their parents what they will and will not do.
Facts.
Now that's something unheard of for me and my family.
No doubt.
You know, this is what you're gonna do. This is what you're gonna eat, or you don't eat. Nowadays they're like, look, I don't want that. Fix me something else. It's just different. So it's different for some, and the majority, I would say. So
great point.
We have to bring back some structure.
Great point. You're right, because children definitely don't just listen to what you say. They actually do what you do.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So great point, brother.
Well, and the point he made in regards to an adult influencing a child to indulge in things that, is not the best choice for a child at all. It's a good thing you realize that, but how many young children started drinking because uncle gave it to me, or smoking because big brother did it, or that one. So even with that, I think that makes it even more, there should be more reasons for those who are wise in the village to really step out there even more so, because the role models in the families are not the best. Now, here's the argument with people like, well, I mind my business. I ain't got nothing to do with that because, and I can understand that because people are really rude today. Like you can't be trying to school people because they be ready to, take it up top of your head. Right. So I'm not that concerned to the point of fighting you over trying to help you with a situation. So I believe that there's a way to make others aware that, you know, there are programs and big brothers and who are willing to assist you with your children without trying to come at you like we're a Jehovah's Witness on the door, like, hey, we got the answers for you. Hey, we got to know, because the truth about the matter is that everybody doesn't want to hear it. Yeah. Everybody's mind is not on the place where they want to receive some information that's going to benefit them. And a lot of people really don't know how much damage they're doing. So again, if we could just get the information out there for those who want it, and just be available and accessible for those who are seeking assistance, then I think that's the start. But you can't just assume the girl with the 5 kids want to hear you telling her about how she's gonna get it right. She's probably not beat for you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I agree. I definitely agree. Anybody want to call in regarding the topics that we just discussed? You can do that now. The number is going to be 973-433-5666, right on the screen. So take that number. You can just call in right now if you have any profound statements, if you want to add to any of these topics that we just mentioned. So we're going to go on to the next one, which is going to be the gender war. How do we stop the gender war? Because it's definitely have been for the last few years. Men going at women, women going at men. Yeah, how do we stop that?
Angela.
How do we stop these gender wars?
I thought for sure you would jump on that one.
That's why I said Angela. This is chess, not checkers.
I'll start it off. And then y'all add on. I think one of the ways we can start it off, stop the gender wars, is what James mentioned earlier, which is taking accountability. You know how when you in a conversation, or say you in a debate, or you in an argument with your loved one, you know, someone that you love, you know, your partner or whatever. Sometimes it's just good to listen and take accountability for what that person is bringing to you. I just saw a video where the daughter says to her father, I think it is, you said something. She says, you said something to me. You just like them bees in the street. Something like that. So he had selective memory, but she was crying it out, like, you know what I mean? And he's like, what? I never told, you know what I mean? And yes, you did, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So she really screamed that on him. But he thought about it, and because she was coming out like that, he shut up. Because it could have been something he did say, because it bothered her really, really bad. And he went over there and just hugged her. You're right, I'm sorry. Even though he didn't remember.
Right.
You know what I mean? That changed that right there.
Wow.
All right, so as far as the gender wars, how do we go ahead?
What I've learned is that, in fact, there's something written that it's easier to teach a child as opposed to trying to teach an adult. Like, adults have all these twisted ways, and we've
because we grown.
So it's almost like if somebody is in their own head, right? Yeah. You're never going to get them not to, unless they really open up to, try to consider.
Right.
But for the most part, when you see somebody's energy is like they got it, like they got all the answers, it's almost like a waste of time. It's almost so like, wow, why do that? Let's invest into a brain that you can influence. Because a lot of brains have already been influenced by everything that's going on, and it's just like, and they're stuck.
They stuck.
So, in regards to the gender war, some men are always going to misjudge women. Yeah, I said it. Some men are always going to have their perception or perspective about how women are doing this and blaming us for everything, because in their head, that's all they see. And maybe they really have some legitimate stories and experiences with women where they, develop this perspective about women. But some of them are off. All women are not cheaters. All women are not gold diggers. And like you guys can say the same thing, vice versa for men.
Right.
But the truth about the matter is that you can't deprogram somebody because it says all women are the B word or whatever, or I don't trust no bee, and I do this to the bees, and they all whores. So then what are you going to do with him? His mentality is such, so what can you do? So when it comes to gender wars, women have their own perception about men too.
Right.
And a lot of it is true. You guys are deadbeats. No, I'm
so
joking. I'm joking.
you meant that. You meant that.
A little bit.
I thought y'all throw it in with the comedy.
Yeah. Okay, speak to that, James.
Well, the gender war is profitable for big business.
Yeah.
Keeping black men and black women in particular. I'm a black man, so I'm gonna speak on the black race in particular. There's more money to be made for the government, taxes and everything, as long as you keep them split. You know, there's more money for churches to make money when you have a split. Now, that goes against what the church represents, because marriage is something that's very, very important in church. But they make more money because the women that are in church will frivolously spend different amounts of money for the church and with the church without a man saying, look, don't do that, don't do this and this and that. So women don't want to hear it, but if you look at it, there aren't too many men in church anymore for a lot of reasons. And it's focused on the women. So that's why the church got softer emotionally, because they have to cater to their biggest audience, which is now females, women.
You know what I heard? Not to cut you off. You know what I heard? I heard that the church has become a feminist movement. I was like, whoa, why you say that? And then I started looking at it. I'm like, women are running a lot of things these days.
Angela's sitting there with fire coming out of her. I can see it. I can feel it. This just got hot in here. Angela, you talking about the church.
I felt the heat over here too.
Well, I'm trying to figure out where you went.
No, I just asked the question because as far as the gender wars, and I think that the feminist movement have definitely created gender wars. They helped big time. There was a machine. That was a big machine.
It started by women who were married, though.
Exactly.
And people don't know that.
Real
the feminist
white
movement
women.
was started by white women who were married.
I agree.
And projected onto all women. I mean, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. You don't need a man. You can do it yourself. And they were married. So they would promote that stuff in the 60s and the 70s and then go home to their husbands.
Yeah.
And they were with those husbands for 50, 60 years.
Real talk.
So I understand where you're going with that. But as far as the church, when you put that in there, I would have to sit down and really think that through.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying.
I just threw it out there. It wasn't something that I believe.
Right.
I
start relating feminist movements to anything that disrupts the discipline of the man that's controlling the household. So when I look at church, when you said that, I was trying to put that in context and say, wow, okay, I can see, because to promote different sexualities, to promote single parenthood, to promote having babies and not being married, and you're in a church setting, falls in line with the trending activity of feminism.
The agenda.
When you say promote, who's promoting it? What are you saying?
Well, just
pushing it.
Just by being, if you walk into a church and it's 50 baseball players in the church, then after a while, people going to want to know, well, what's up with baseball? We want to know. Now you make that's promoting it. Yeah. I try to give
it becomes the norm. It becomes the norm.
Small example. So it's definitely, I'm not saying like the Bible is a set scripture, a set amount of words that can be taught, but it's also man-made. So the church setting, the way the church survives, the tax breaks, the business side of church, all the money, it's all
business.
Wait,
in a sense.
Wait. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, break it down.
Go ahead.
So when you knew it would spark something?
I know it sparked something because you're going to take it as me thinking something negative about the church, but it's the stuff that's not talked about. Right. That's just like when we talk about the relationship stuff and you feel as though some men look at women and this is all they see. But the problem is we've been taught, this is for an example, small example, and this one, I hope it hits home with this one. We've been taught men ain't
for years.
Yeah, cheating dog, this and that.
Scrubs.
But then the older you get and the more you realize women cheat more than men.
Yes.
And once you get to the point where you start realizing, oh, is this the case? Then you go to the hospitals and you look at their documents and they see that 3 out of every 6 kids wasn't who the mother said was the father. You're like, that's 50%. They don't talk about this type stuff, but then when you start learning the facts and seeing these things, you're like, wait a minute, that's not what I was taught coming up, because the man was supposed to be the cheater.
But you know who exposed it? A lot of that though? Jerry Springer and Maury.
Oh Lord, Jerry
You're not
Springer,
the father.
Maury.
You're not the father.
Yeah, that Maury was
That was serious, bro.
That was.
You talking about
that
12?
used to be disgusting to watch though.
You tested 12 men?
Yeah.
20.
I saw one. It was 28 men.
Wow.
And the last one that
And
came
we ignore
on,
that though. We ignore that. We make that seem like
right. We make it think it was just entertainment,
right.
but it's actually
Wow,
a
geez,
shadow.
Gentlemen, chill for a second.
It's a shadow of life.
Right.
But
Same thing.
But what now we can speak about women who have lied to men and had him thinking he was the child's father.
Right.
We know that there are men who are spreading their seed all around the land. So he might have a baby here and hiding it from his wife, and those kind of stories. So
But this isn't about tit for tat, though.
Right.
We were discussing women,
again?
so you should speak to that
Right.
before
And
you
that's-
switch
and see,
it
you know
to
what? That's-
before you switch it to men,
Hey,
because you're
James.
showing that you don't want to be
Right.
accountable for the women.
Right, and that's what we need. We need more. See, there are men that actually
I'm quiet now.
check those situations with men. There are men that do that, and that's been going on for years. We've been scrutinized for years. We've been looked at and looked at for years. So we need women to actually do that too now for women. Because I've said this to someone before. It seemed like some women don't want to get on or check other women because it's an emotional thing. It's almost like a code, a women's code.
Girl code.
That I might get kicked out of this women's club. And that's, we need women to stand up and just be like, yo, nah, girl, that's wrong.
So
Straight up.
So
And don't be trying to sugarcoat it.
So if I could use the analogy, like almost like the cool kid, like you can only rock with us until you say something stupid and you out the club kind of thing. But for the most part, I'm not going to be standing alongside any type of foolishness. I'm not going to be promoting or downplaying any type of behavior that it goes against, moral and value system. I'm real old school. But who am I to judge another person who is... No, I'm just...
There we go. That
No.
word judge.
Yeah,
See,
Let me make my point.
Hold them accountable
exactly.
for their reality
Exactly.
and their action, no
That's
matter
it.
who it is.
Exactly.
So are you doing the same thing with the men?
Yeah, we have to.
definitely.
Yeah, we have to.
It's easy to
So
call.
why
All you
is
have
it
to do
that
is
y'all
ask a
focus
man,
on-
said, "How many kids you got?" And he says, "Well, I got 3 kids." When's the last time you spoke to him?
Word is born.
That's
I've
how
done
you.
that-
I want to know. When's the last time you
shop.
spoke to him?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't speak to my son. This
Yeah.
one son, he spoke to him like 5 years.
Come on,
You
bro.
automatically showing me.
Exactly.
Now, go to the same woman. Oh, wait a minute now. You got 5 kids, 6 baby fathers, and now you're looking for a man to get married and settle down. And the women don't go, that's hit that one again. And the women don't go to that woman and go, what is your problem?
Exactly.
Not only did you get it wrong, you're not trying to learn how to do it better. Because the second time you did it, the third time you did it, the fourth time, you have to be a woman to tell a woman, that's not good.
All right, so what happens whenever let's just say this individual is in my family, this young lady who's having multiple children by different men,
Right.
and her attitude is like, mind your business, leave me alone. What do you do when you have that type of
You got to
personality?
I think you got to, if you try it out a few times, but you show them. I think you got to show them love. That's one. You got to come with love. You can't come with downing tactics. You know what I mean? You can't come with the yeah. You got to come with the come here, baby. You know what I mean? I want to talk to you. Just me and you. Let's go out too. You know what I mean? I want to explain this to you because that's the way you got to come. You got to come with humble love.
I'm going to share something with you guys with regards to all right, when I used to start doing Facebook Live, right, men used to chime in like, why you only talk to the women? Why you don't ever talk to the men? And I'm like, because I'm talking to women. I'm trying to encourage women, uplift women kind of thing. So
I get that too.
it really wasn't no room or for me to say, hey guys, what do you think? I'm not that kind of, I'm not engaging with men. I'm really trying to encourage my sisters, right?
Right.
So I can remember being frustrated and sharing a thought with another man who is married. He's a pastor, and he was saying, Angie, but you do realize that all of the young boys won't be saved. You do know that, right? It doesn't matter how much you try to save a young boy or get him off the...
It's true.
They're not going to be saved. And you do realize that. So I was when I sat back, I said, yeah, I understand, but how do we be available for the ones that, are just caught out there?
Right.
And the same with the young ladies. All of them are not going to be saved, period. So with that in mind, we're not saying, oh, you done got yourself in a little pickle, fend for yourself. No. But when you come to a point and you want to know how do you get, let's just say, for instance, generational situations where they she got the welfare, now she got the welfare, now she got this, that thing which is passed down, or Section 8. So with that, how do we get the mentality that, oh wait, I'm just waiting till because I'm gonna pass it down, or how do we get to where young girls are looking forward to being able to be the next recipient of whatever situation, right? So that's a mentality, right? And so how do you come and say, there's something wrong with this, wanting to just live like this, like you're living a mediocre life. Like, do you ever see yourself excelling? So when you start talking to people, you look like you're judging them.
That's because it's how you bring it. It has to be the way you say it is important, and I think that's very, very key. You can't do it in front of people. That's one. You can't do it at a party. You can't do it at an event. You can't do it around other family members. It has to be done one-on-one sometime with love, though.
Right, but what happens when you're having that conversation and you realize that she's not ready? Because sometimes you're gonna...
she's made her mind up that that's the life she wants to live.
Oh, how about this? We were doing a community. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So we were having a community event, and we were in this particular location, and we were telling them how we can help them, assist them with this or whatever. And she was like, because if I start making too much money, my rent is going to go up. And the reality for her was like, yeah, that sounds all well and good, but then I'm going to have to struggle to try to make that rent when I start making more money. So she was really content with, nope, I get this amount every month and I'm good. My rent is going to be.
Government stuff I told you about.
So again, some people are conditioned, or they like, look, I'm good right here, and this is the element. So then you have to realize, okay, it's not for them. You have to move on to the next person. So
it's understandable.
So everybody can't be saved. And everybody ain't in the position to try to save people. For real. You can't be holier than thou. Like, I'm going to save everybody. Just chill. Some things are
nobody's perfect.
That takes me back to in the earlier segment, we discussed the celebrities that make it and then don't come back to the communities. So maybe there's an aspect to it where we shouldn't expect those celebrities to come back and solve the issues of the community. So that can also be, we started the podcast off with those thoughts. That just took me back to that just now. Like, well, maybe I'm wrong if I expect because you made millions to come back and invest $200,000-$300,000 in a store in your own community that you grew up in, spent money in. So maybe, am I wrong for expecting that from someone? Because I know that's what I would do. If all of a sudden I ended up with $100 million because I hit the lottery, the first thing you would see in the change of me would be what I did where I grew up. Because wherever I go, I have cousins in Jersey City too that I haven't seen in years. I don't even know where they live, but I know people are always connected to where they grew up. I'm connected to Orange. I'm connected to Irvington. I'm connected. And I rode my bike all the way to Clerk Street in Jersey City to see a girl in high school. And people ask me how I got there, and I don't even know. But I know I went to see her. And I showed up.
GPS. You didn't have GPS.
I didn't have GPS. We didn't have cell phones back then.
No doubt.
But it really boils down to people are from their community and about their community. You talk about Jersey City, people like, yo, I know Jersey City, boom, boom, boom. And they love Jersey City. That goes for a lot of cities. Tennessee, you could go to North Carolina, Durham, Charlotte. Everybody's about where they grew up. So, I don't know.
But the key thing to that, what goes into that ingredients, it should be the morals, the moral obligation. It There got to be a moral obligation. Some people don't have that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So if somebody doesn't have it, it's because they really don't know their maker, right? Because if you know that you were not created just because you're the cool kid on the block and you're going to just show off, and every time the new sneakers come out, you're going to get it. Every time the new cars come out, you're going to get it. You're just flashy. Some people don't really know their identity. They live off the hype or the flashy life. So you're not going to get to that mentality.
Right.
That person has to really, it's a disconnect.
Yeah.
And who's raising the kids more so these days, social media or the parents?
They're heavily influenced by social media and outward experiences. Parents, and all parents are not, how do you say? Some parents are just really busy, whether they're working 2 or 3 jobs or whether they're just trying. Some of them, I'm stressed out.
Yeah. And to speak to that part, I think that is very important. I think we should, the society should get back to some of the the traditional ways, because if not, it's only going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
The traditional ways that worked back in the day, it was in place for that reason. It worked. It really worked. And as we can see in the modern society, it's not working anymore because, as Angela said, everybody busy, everybody stressed out. It's work, you know what I mean? Back then, mom stayed home to tend to them kids, man.
I don't mind staying home
You know what I
at
mean?
this point.
But, you
so
know, the
is that
brother
realistic though?
It can happen. Yeah,
You can't
it's
stay home
happening.
if you don't have a male provider.
Exactly. The man have to be there to actually be
That's
that
another-
provider. That was part of the system. That was
That's
part of
another
that.
part of the
yeah.
system. They
Yeah.
get the man out of there where he can't provide,
Real
and the
talk.
woman will have to go to work.
And now she stressed the hell out.
And now we
on
get
everything.
tax from the man that's
Yeah.
not there, and tax from the woman that has to work,
Right.
because he's not there.
Right. And she starts to break down more and more, being that strong black woman.
Yeah.
See,
Well, you had to go
I was
up.
about to say.
Because you know what I threw that because it's like you hear all of these empowerment black women situations, empowering black women. Now, if there were, sayings or groups of men saying, empowering men, how you empowering yourself and not the partner that you're supposed to be with? Empowering, you know what I mean? To me,
All right, so-
it's counterproductive to me. Meaning, some women go into the empowerment thing thinking self. Hell with my man partner. You understand?
Yeah.
Which
Because-
means hell with my family.
Uh-oh. Okay,
You didn't
Angela.
think of it that
I'm
way.
listening, Angela.
I'm going to say this,
Break it down.
James. How about this? Listen, all right, so
Go ahead, break it down.
whenever you were talking about, just realize men used to beat women up. When men used to do women dead wrong. So there was
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Angela,
stop.
you just said that as if it was a norm.
like it's normal, like it's all.
That
like,
wasn't a
not
norm.
all.
All right.
We gotta say what y'all say.
The
all time.
Color Purple
Not
was a
all.
movie.
That was a movie.
All
It
right,
wasn't a
man.
reality,
Stop,
because
stop.
as kids, I
And-
didn't see that.
And stop it. And I've seen it in my family.
No, I'm not. I'm saying I've
uncle
seen
beat up
domestic
auntie.
violence, but
I've
we
seen-
haven't seen where women are just every household you walk
Right.
into, they're getting beat up.
Let me tell you, there was an era where men would get drunk and beat up their wives. There was an era where there were women who were just dead wrong, to where as though there had to be a movement to help this sister get back on her feet because the man then left her dead wrong. So when you're talking about empowering women, it's not because, oh, she had a good life with her husband and she needs to be empowered. No, the lady was really dead wrong, dead wrong. So there was a reason why they had to implement certain things. Now, I'm not saying that across the board everybody needed to be uplifted in this way.
Right.
But there were households that were left by men where women had to really try to figure it out. So if I'm in an agency and I'm looking at this young lady with 3 and 4 kids and the man is gone, and I'm going to hook her up with everything that I know. Get this wick and you go here, down there, and this is I have to tell you this. I have to help you empower yourself, or you're going to be just left there struggling. So there were issues that caused women to have to try to uplift and empower one another.
That's right. I agree.
I about to say, where my hand
Yeah, I
clap?
got you. There you go. Hey, just bring it to the table and, you know what I mean?
Sir, I appreciate that.
Yeah. You can speak to that, James? Want to speak to that?
No, I think she
covered
put a
it.
nice stamp on it. I understand what she's saying, you know, because I also grew up watching domestic violence. And, you know, I had to learn what to do and what not to do because it wasn't as simple as, well, I've seen it, so it can't be that bad.
Right.
No, because I've seen it, I should know better, more so. So I understand what she's saying, but see how she just automatically went to women were getting beat up.
All women.
So that's why we tell you earlier,
Right.
it's not that men are blaming women for things. We weren't taught the realities and the truths about what women are really doing out here all these years because they were able to use men as the one to blame for it all.
For years.
So then when you get to be a grown man, you start realizing, wait a minute, 51% of all the black men are childless.
Right.
85% of the black women have kids. So wait a minute. All of these women are having kids by the same small group of black men because all of these women want 6 foot or taller, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a small group of people. But the whole group of black men got blamed for it for years.
Real talk.
And now men are starting to put the statistics out there, and women don't want to hear the
They don't
statistics.
want to hear that.
They don't want to hear the true, accurate numbers because we weren't told the true, accurate numbers.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. So I know it
much
flips.
longer?
I think we're about done. I'm looking for some phone calls now.
I'm sorry. You gotta start showing me these stats too, because I don't even follow
If you
them.
want to call in right now, you can call in and we'll take a few questions or a few statements or whatever, and then we'll move on from there. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Definitely.
Much love and respect. Y'all make sure y'all look out for Angela's. You know, she got a few situations going on, so look out for some of the things. Y'all contact her. Y'all got all the information. Look out for James Rodman. He got 2 books out. Name those books again, brother.
Well, the first one is My Butterfly by author James Rodman. And my second one, I haven't announced the title yet, so I'll be waiting because right now I'm on a push, and I got a nice little deal.
No doubt. That's what's up.
Yeah,
That's
but
what's
at author James Rodman on Instagram. Follow me. Check me out. I'm on this stuff every day, trying to make a difference in a positive way for
No
the
doubt.
entire village.
Let me ask you a question, if you don't mind. In regards
She's
to your
burning up. She's burning up a little bit.
in regards to you trying to make a difference in a positive way, do you feel like people are receiving you, or are they giving you resistance, or what do you feel?
I think I get the resistance from the people that don't want to face the truth. That's what's going on. And I show them all the time. I had to dig deep inside my own family. My mother is the best woman on the planet. But now that I'm older with more knowledge, I can see where things weren't left and right in a different aspect, and I can hold her accountable to things. As opposed to, it's an unspoken word. You don't question Big Mama.
Right.
You don't question Mama because Mama is
Big
perfect.
Mama.
And
That's
I
Big
get
Mama.
it. I get it. But just because, like I said earlier, just because a woman or a man or whomever survived a certain amount of years doesn't mean you couldn't have done it better and on purpose for a particular reason. When you have kids, just because the kids are alive at 25 doesn't mean you did the best thing that you could have done for them because you didn't know.
Right.
You can't use I did the best I could. When a person is now not a kid and he's 25 or she's 25, you can't just say, well, I did the best I could. It's on them now.
Right.
No, you didn't know some things, so you have to be held accountable for the stuff you didn't know. And acknowledge.
To what degree, though? What are we gonna
But-
do? I'm gonna hear you say this the rest of my life. Mommy, you messed up when you didn't buy me the bike, or mommy, you messed
No,
up
but
when you
there
didn't.
are adults
What-
running around with these issues. I've got family members, they're 50, 60 years old, talking about, mommy didn't treat me like this. Mommy let this happen to me. And they're 60 years old.
I get it. I hear
So
you.
what I'm saying is actually true. And it happens, but we don't speak on it. So then when
Facts.
you hear me speak on it, you think I'm bashing or blaming.
Right.
But I'm just
Because it's-
presenting something to you
Because
that's
it's not normal.
unheard of.
It's not normal to hear. That's the
Right,
reason why.
right,
So it's
right.
like, oh, don't say that about mama.
I thought you said we.
We are. But I gotta go to the chat.
Because you ain't about
I
to
gotta
come
go
on
to the
my
chat.
mama.
I got.
Well, I'm just saying,
We go with
therapy.
the chat real quick.
You tell people. I said earlier, we all need therapy.
Yes,
When you tell somebody they need therapy, automatically they're defensive. You trying to say
Right.
something wrong with me?
Right.
I'm not trying to say it. I already know that
Come
something's
on.
wrong with you because there's something wrong with a lot of us.
Right.
All right, let's go to the chat. Raheem said, this is exactly what I see you doing. A podcast. Perfect, DJ Supreme. DeBarbara, happy for you, G. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Omar says, yes, powerful. Kids need to be taught at home. Stop
Yes.
depending on the school system. All right. Thank you, bro, for that comment, my brother Omar. Deborah says, stay home until you finish college or even get a career before you push out into the world with nothing to fall back on. Sometimes that doesn't work. It helps though. Deborah also says adult is adulting. And we talked about therapy. She said therapy, accountability. All right. She also says start from the head, the body will follow. Deborah also said the government put empowering into women once the prison system conquered the men.
Wow.
That's a good one.
That's
So
something,
definitely
that's something to dive into.
Oh yeah, definitely. The system doesn't have a part to play in it. Smiley says, get your license or don't drive. I agree. I'm gonna tell you a story, man. I didn't have my license for about maybe 11 years one time, and I still was driving, bro. I was hard-headed, young, hard-headed. And look, man, I'm getting tickets after tickets after tickets. And until one day, this brother said to me in the chair, old head. I was working down at on Oak, and you know, it was a fear of just going into the buildings of the system. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of men have that fear. You know, and he said this to me. He said, "Listen, bro, call them people up and ask them how much it is you need to give them for you to get your license back. Because all they want is money, brother. See, you be scared. People be scared of going to the building, look at the building. There's marbles all over. Man, hell with that. Go take care of your business, brother." And sure enough, I got on that phone, brother, and I did that.
Wow.
Yeah, I did that and made it happen. Yeah. But
Can I say something in regards to? I can remember being young. This is about. Say like your brothers and your cousins always getting in trouble,
Right.
who messed up their name, and now they want you to put a car in your name.
Right.
So we had this kind of situation going on for years. Like you looking out because his license is messed up, so
Right.
you putting the car in your name. Now you getting jammed up with tickets. I spent over like $5,000-6,000 on tickets because of trying to look out for a brother or a cousin because I'm putting the car in our name. So what about let's talk about that, because there are men in the community. They screwed up and they come to the woman in the community like, you got to help me get out of this situation because I wasn't responsible in my life, but I want you to help me get out of this. And then you jammed up because you're trying to look out for somebody. I was jammed up with a suspended license for over a year because not only did I put the car in one of my relatives' name, he was pulled over and I got hit with giving an unlicensed driver a car. And by the time I went to court, they were telling me, 1 year without the time. What do you mean? How do you figure somebody going to do?
Yeah.
But for the most part, our young girls can't be, and this is just a harsh reality, we can't risk being loyal to family members at the stake of our own lives.
I agree.
Like, so now I'm doing this for you, but now you off to the next thing, or I might be jammed up or even locked up. How many girls have been holding the stash for somebody? Loyalty to people. You know, we got to stop that mentality. No, it's no. I love you. Blood is yes, thicker than water, all that stuff. But when you're starting to put me in situations where now my children may be without a mom because I'm in jail, or I'm going to be riding in the car with you and I may be getting shot at too, then there's a problem. So our young girls cannot be loyal to relationships, loyal to boyfriends, loyal to brothers because of them getting jammed up in situations.
Right. I agree. I have no pushback for what you just said. Everything you said is on point, and men have to take accountability and take on their own situations and make it happen and put it on instead of putting it on somebody else. So the women have to actually know to not, you see jammed up and been jammed up over and over again. You can't do it.
So
you
we're going to take that.
Emotions.
We're going to take that young, undeveloped mind, young lady,
right,
and tell her that when they come at you, you better know all the things to do. She don't have a father telling her all that.
Well,
she don't have
we
no.
talked about accountability, and you have to teach her that it's your responsibility not to get jammed up, young lady. It's also his responsibility not to be trying to jam a person, somebody else up.
Facts. He wrong for
That's
that.
the part we're talking about. See how we just want to hear that you understand it is the accountability aspect for that young
So
girl.
we're talking about the fatherless child, though. Her father wasn't there to tell her that.
But once again, and that goes to the mother who you had a baby with, a man that wasn't, you weren't married. So it keeps coming back.
No, because he lied to me. True. I didn't know that he was running around here sleeping with everybody else.
Just because the man tells you this is a nice car and it runs good doesn't mean buy it.
That's right. Because it could be a lemon.
I didn't know he was not that loyal to family. I thought he was about that life. I thought he was going to take care of me and my family.
So this became personal?
No, I'm just saying. We're going to talk about the women.
The majority here. You went back to, It's okay, though. It's okay.
Okay, Smiley says, I agree. Don't allow that to be an excuse not to go forward and seek and work just because they shut you down. You know what I mean? They shut you down or whatever. A lot of jobs in the area. Okay. Smiley also said, being focusing them to adopt to the bad way of living with no plan or strategy. She's going back to what we were talking about earlier.
And that's like our community suffers at the hands of the people in the community because the people in the community are allowing those generational bad habits to keep perpetrating.
Right.
So at some point, I remember a young lady saying to me, I said, if there was an issue that you had with your children, what would it be? She says, my boys are not bad, but, they're, average kids. But my issue is when they go outside, the older ones on the block trying to recruit them.
Right.
And this is, this was trying to get them to join again. So it's in your community, and we can't say, oh, it was a white man, a white cop. No. Let's talk about right here, right now. My son and his community, I'm at work. I'm expecting the village to look out for me and mine when I'm not home, but yet I can't trust my children around my own environment, my own community. So here we are, but yet we'll be the first ones to say, look over there, look what they're doing. What about what you're doing to me right here?
That's the responsibility of the men in the village.
Facts.
And where are they?
Then they're obviously, if the kid is influenced to join a gang in that village, he's obviously not being influenced by the males of that particular close-knit environment. So I would say the accountability would lie on the men in that village.
Right.
So if most of the men are indulging in illegal activity, and influencing your child.
In that community.
In that community, yes.
In that area.
In that area, yes.
Right, gotcha.
So what am I as a mother? Like, I just really am trying to keep my son from being caught up in these streets. But yet you got these men with the mentality like, yo, come over here, little man, or whatever, or hold this, or go here, or do this, or run this. So
you got to get them around.
But yet you guys want me as a single woman to hold it together and do all this when I really need my village to help me out. But my village is failing me.
Right. Where's his father?
He's, I don't know, he's somewhere with the other girl. Or locked up.
I'm gonna leave that alone then.
I don't know where he at. When you find him, send him back, please.
Lord.
Yeah. That's what dating with a purpose. That's what dating with a purpose is all about. So those who are watching that's younger, I mean, you have to learn from, the older or the elder mistakes that we've done. You know what I mean? So we got to really put that in their head that they're coming up. Date with a purpose, man. It's all fun and games right now, hanging out, doing your thing, and you just hopping in bed with this one and that one, you know what I mean? Easily to get pregnant and all that good stuff. It's all fun and games now, but once you start getting to that point where them babies looking in your face and they hungry, they start hitting you. You know what I mean? So pay attention to those that came before you and learn from them.
Yes,
real talk.
Sure.
Yeah. Real talk. So I think we got one more. It's only 5:20. So one more. I think I wanted to say this. If there was, if a woman hit the lottery, if some women would hit the lottery with the mentality they have, with some of the mentality they have today, will they? Most times, it will be like it's mine. I ain't giving him nothing. Especially if she look at men in a certain light.
You talking about a wife and a husband situation, or
I'm
a
talking
woman
about
with a girlfriend? Girlfriend, boyfriend.
I guess a girlfriend, boyfriend, or that type of situation. Yeah, not the married situation, but a baby mother, baby father, or whatever case may be situation. What do you think?
I think the average
Because
woman.
the man, I think men have the mentality. You know what? Was mine is hers.
Really?
If he came across a big stack of money, would he? I'm just asking.
You said the man would be the more generous person in this
Sorry,
scenario?
that gender war.
All right, let me just say this. Women are naturally nurturers. Like, I want to see you win. Babe, I don't want to be, do you think it looks good for me to be walking and I'm on and popping and he's looking all dusty? No, I want to see you win too.
These questions I'm asking, people giving me these questions.
Oh, no, okay. I like that. But for the most part, I don't want to see you lose. I want you, when I'm walking into a place in a restaurant, I want you to look the part. I don't want you to look like the help. So, yes, I will put you, if I got money, you got it. If I got it, it's yours. I remember, I'm going to share this, I'm going way back. And this is, don't judge me. Whenever I was in high school, y'all ever knew when you used to hustle back in the day, somebody put you on your feet?
Nah, you
don't know what
I
you're
played the
talking about.
fifth.
All right, so let me share let me share this. I mean, I can't go, the statutory limits, right? Statutory law. I ain't gonna go to jail for something I did when I was little, right?
Nah,
but nevertheless,
you good.
I put one of my boyfriends on his feet before.
Wow.
Why? Because he was selling for somebody and selling for somebody, so they was like, he only needed 200 to get on. I'm like, I got the two, give the man the two.
Man, put him on his feet.
Don't judge me. Don't judge me. But had somebody
real.
told me how to to invest that $200 when I was 16 years old, I wouldn't have been putting it on his feet. I would have been investing that money.
Right.
Where was the bills when I needed them?
But you were doing what you wanted to do. Did you talk to an adult? No.
Right.
Because you wouldn't want to hear what that adult said.
Yeah.
And how old were you then?
Like 16.
Influenced.
And how old was the daughter in your example earlier? Your daughter.
Oh, yeah.
16.
Yeah.
So.
But I will say this part that unfortunately there are so many things that happens in our lives. Well, I can speak for myself, where adults weren't as responsible. So that's why I can relate from that level of knowing that we were really we were doing our own stuff up in the house. We were 24/7 children raising each other and looking out for one another. So I get those scenarios where the mothers are, whether they're too busy and they're running the streets. It's just like we're just doing us in this house. That's pretty much what happened in my childhood.
No doubt.
No disrespect to anybody's position anyway.
No doubt. All right, I think that's about it. No phone calls. Much love and respect. We hope to see you guys soon on the next DAP. Much love and respect. Talk to you guys soon. Peace out.